Hey everybody, it's Bond Games. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duels of the Roses. One of those kind of spin-off Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that does not really follow the actual rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I love it. I love when the games actually deviate away from the regular rules and make up their own, but just slightly kind of use the cards. It would make me really appreciate Dungeon Dice Monsters if I actually played a Dungeon Dice Monsters game. So who knows, maybe in the future at some point. But getting started, I only noticed this like right before I started this recording session because we were streaming this on Twitch and I was just sitting here in this menu. If you look at the sides, those little crystals next to new game, oh my god. This game came out in like 2001, 2002. They predicted pendulum summoning. It's the same crystals and everything. So, yeah, I stopped playing like halfway through Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, so I'm not even completely on understanding of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like nowadays, so it's nice to kind of throw all the way back here to basically generation 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! With BS rules. I love it. So we're gonna just go ahead and start a new game. And what's interesting about this game is there's actually 2 different stories that you can play through, and you could choose which one you do. But when the events of one finish, you can automatically start the second one with the same cards you had during the first one. So more on that in just a few minutes. See, the British Empire in the 1480s. Yeah, by the way, this is loosely based on actual history, so, yeah, you've been warned. Alright, the War of the Roses, a power struggle between the houses of Lancaster, Red Rose, and York, White Rose, to decide a royal successor was nearing an end. With the Yorkists well in the lead, the reign of Richard III was but a step away. Yeah, they pulled this guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. I don't know how many games this dude is actually in, but he's like usually the main antagonist of spin-off Yu-Gi-Oh! Games for whatever reason. I don't know where he came from. I don't think he ever appeared in a manga or anything. He's just here. He's just here. And in France, Yugi, Henry Tudor, the last Lancastrian heir. So yeah, they just take actual names and just like, nah, we're gonna throw Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters instead. They're basically doing a play. Let's just call it a play. He's being forced to live a life of exile. Lancastrian forces were rendered powerless by ancient cards of sorcery wielded by Seto and his 7 followers who, known as the Rose Crusaders, served under the flag of Lord Crawford, a powerful Yorkist nobleman. Lacking a duelist to champion their cause, defeat was imminent for the Lancastrians. In England, dual card games were still at the fledgling stage. Thus, the Lancastrians had to look elsewhere for a dual master capable of facing the Rosencreutz in battle. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't know. With this in mind, Margaret My Beaufort, really, of Lancaster secretly requested a high druid to summon a duelist from another age. And they just plop you clean off your motorcycle and drop you in the middle of Stonehenge. Simon McMorrin. Oh! Summoned from the mystic circle of red and white roses, the one capable of harnessing pure power. There was a truth to the legend of the Rose Duelist. Lady Margaret, I did it! Now we have the means of defeating the evil forces of Rosencreutz. I'm gonna call it Cruz. I don't know if it's Crow Cruz. Whatever. Oh, my apologies. In my excitement, I'd forgotten I was in the presence of the Rose Duelist. No, you didn't. That's literally why you're freaking out, but okay. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Simon McMorrin, High Druid and servant of Lancaster. May I be so bold as to ask the name by which the Rose Duelist would like to be known? Please, I don't know if this fits. We're just gonna try it. I don't know how many characters go in here. If I remember correctly, I could actually put Jonathan in here, like my regular name, full Johnathan, but let's see. And by the way, your name actually determines your cards. So yep, perfect, it fits. James Bond. James Bond? A fine name indeed. Well, technically it's Bond of Games, but James Bond is the in-game name for when it normally doesn't fit. Now, here's the situation. The year is 1485, and you are currently in Stonehenge, near Salisbury, I almost said New England, England. The British Empire is in turmoil, with the House of Lancaster's rightful claim to the throne being challenged by Yorkists. Okay. The power struggle is referred to as the War of the Roses, a name based on the badges used by both sides. A red rose for the Lancastrians, and a white rose for the Yorkists. Right now, our kingdom is threatened by the Yorkists, and their wrongful claim to the throne. All because the Yorkists enjoy the support of the Rose Crusaders and their sorcerous white rose cards. Using our red rose cards, we summoned you, James Bond, to this day and age. We hope that your dueling experience would defeat the Rose Crusaders and lead us to victory. You will help us? Of course you will. Foolish of me to even doubt where your loyalties lie. I just gave the chat a brief webcam stare and continued about my merry way. Rumor has it that only the legendary Rose Duelist stands a chance against the Power Rosencrow. Cross? I'll never realize how to pronounce this name. We appreciate any help you can provide against them. Before I forget, I should warn you that the rules to dueling differ here from those of your age. Yeah, the rules of dueling differ from this age and 10 years ago, let alone 6 centuries, fam, alright? Just throwing that out there. Here in England, dueling is governed by what is known as the perfect rule. Well, if it's so perfect, why did it change? In addition to several minor distinctions, there are 2 major differences. One is the existing of movement or positioning, the other is deck leader concept. These are actually very interesting, that's why I love this game. Or at least I loved the game. Nostalgia kind of has me wanting to play a Yu-Gi-Oh game, and this is the one I landed on. So let's see, there are 2 aspects of dueling that were lost in the process when the ancient sport of duel monsters was adapted to card form. The perfect rule represents these lost rules that were miraculously revived here in England. Yeah, it's a miracle that this game was made, basically, is what they're saying. Perhaps a practice duel will better serve an explanation, shall we? No. I'll basically explain it when the game actually starts. First, James Bond, you must select a deck to duel with. It is important that you feel the vibrations of the deck leader. The minute resonations that ring true to your soul. Yeah, okay. The cards themselves draw their power from the energies of the Ancient Ones. The deck leader acts as an intermediate between the Ancient Ones and the deck wielder. James Bond, it is essential that you select a card leader whose rhythm matches the stirrings of your soul. Here are several decks from which to choose. Give some serious thought and make your selection. Choose carefully, for the deck you select will guide the destiny of your duels. Okay, so this all plays a huge aspect in what you're going to be doing. So each deck leader has their own special abilities, but when you look at the actual decks, you can see the main attributes and the main races. The attributes is the top right corner, so it's like dark, light, all that good stuff. The main races, so that would be like Fiend, Warrior, Spellcaster, etc., etc. The attribute and the race both affect basically stat boosts, because this plays kind of like, you know, Generation 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh!, where there's actually field type bonuses. So your attribute or your race could give you an attack and defense boost of 500 points, which is huge in this game. So here you got Fairy King Truesdale with a lot of different attributes and races. Illusionary Gentleman just as well, even more so. We got Zombie, Spellcaster, Fiend, and Aqua, I guess. I think it's what it is because the attribute is water. See, I was hoping, to have more main lightning and dragons. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go Fairy King Truesdale. I'm not 100% positive this is the best choice, but yeah, the average summon level is 3.26, 3.28, 3.4. So that's showing you also the star level. So the higher the average is, the either they're just slightly bit higher or there are stronger cards in the deck overall. I think I'm gonna go Fairy King Truesdale. I feel like that's my best bet. I know there have been speed runs in this game. They've completed the entire game in like an hour and 10 minutes tops. I don't remember exactly which decks they got, but there's even more about that I'll talk about shortly. This is gonna be a long intro. I see you selected your deck. So that's the effect of the Celtics' Red Rose cards. It looks like there's some truth to the rumor that the Red Rose cards are capable of time transformation. Who's there? It's been some time since the Battle of Barnet, old one. Rosencruz, what brings you here? Only a member of the Rose Crusaders may call me by that name. If you may recall, I told you once before that you may only address me as Seto. Or does memory fail you, old man? Obey me, I have a Blue Eyes White Dragon shoulder armor. I am older than 12. And you must be the dreaded Rose Duelist. I must admit there's a certain aura of power emanating from you. I believe an introduction is in order. I am Seto, leader of the Rose Crusaders. There are members of our little group who prefer to call me by the name of C. Rosencrew. I'm just gonna call it Rosencrew. Rosencrow. I don't even know. I ask you again, blah, 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 blah. Mind your manners, old man, blah, blah, blah. What else would bring me here? I've come for the Red Rose cards. After all, it was you who showed me how summoning capabilities would evolve when the Red Rose cards are combined with the transport powers of the White Rose cards. You aren't thinking of attempting the Forbidden Rose summoning? If so, then the Red Rose cards must never fall into your evil hands. Card sorcery taps into the powers of the Ancient Ones. By their very nature, each card is a double-edged sword that can cut both ways. Yeah, that's what a double-edged sword does. The Rose cards alone harness tremendous power. There's no telling what horrors one might unleash into the world by combining both red and white. I will sacrifice my own life if need be to prevent any from uttering the spell of doom. The spell of doom? Fool. The 16 red and white rose cards grant power overall. Druid legend has twisted the true meaning of these cards. We Rose Crusaders have sworn to create a utopia free from the ravages of war. We intend to accomplish this with the power of the cards. I like the sound of that. And we shall do so by extending the rule of Richard III. Wish they would just say third, but yeah. Throughout the known world. ... By the way, it was clever of you to form a circle of red roses within the white rose barrier to summon the Rose Duelist. But you were foolish to come alone. This area is surrounded, and if you wish to leave with your life, you will do so only by handing over the red rose cards. Me? A fool? Then what about you? Are you fool enough to actually believe the red rose cards would remain here in my possession? Right after the summoning, I had the cards dispersed among our best duelists to keep them from your tainted hands. Didn't you leave with but one option? I shall enlist the aid of your precious Rose Duelist. You take leave of your senses. It's old British, lol. And you speak too soon, old man. Heed my words, duelist. If you wish to return to your proper time period, you will require 16 of the red and white roses. Yeah, whatever. The red and white positions must be laid out in reverse of the summoning in order to send you home. You know the spell? Since you needed the 16 rose cards just as much as we do. Since you need the 16 rose cards just as much as we do, I propose a partnership. Help us gather the cards, and I shall guarantee your return after we've achieved our ultimate goal. An absurd proposal. Do you think that the Honorable Games Bond would ever lend an ear to your ridiculous proposal? Can you be so sure, old man? Let me see. Simon's side has 8 of the red rose cards, while my side, the Rose Crusaders, has possession of the 8 white rose cards. As the numbers are even, simple arithmetic indicates that you could side with either of us. But I'm sure you'll take into account who's winning this war. After all, who was desperate enough to summon you here in the first place? I think it's quite clear which side is better positioned to send you home. Game's bond! Heed not the words of this power-hungry lunatic! Simon, must you resort to name-calling? I'm hurt. I'll tell you what. Why don't we leave the decision to our dear duelist? After all, Simon, the duelist's future is not for us to decide now, is it? Well, yes, but... Splendid. I'm keeping with the tradition of old temple gardens. I offer you a choice, duelist. Here are 2 roses. The white represents me, the red for old Simon here. For the sake of justice, choose the red rose! Stand by my side, duelist. Choose the white rose. Alright. The funny thing is, everything Seto said is good! Like, Simon's just like, woe is me, help me! Seto's just like, yo, we're already winning. We can send you home. We want peace. We want to end war. So, yeah. Basically, you choose who you fight in this entire game. So, I'm going to side with the Yorkists first, because I find the fighting the Yorkists way harder mid and late game than the Lucastrians. So, we going white. A wise choice, duelist. I see you're well versed in judging a situation. Welcome to the Rose Crusaders. I am honored. Okay, old man, it's time you made yourself scarce. Dissing. What? What are you doing? Stop! No! Did he just Exodia obliterate him, or what just happened? Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I just need you out of the way until everything is settled. Now, let's talk about the red rose cards. Simon mentioned that he spread the cards among certain individuals just after summoning you. I think it's safe to assume that a large number of those individuals are his confederates currently located in France. I would like to ask you to enter France from Dover and retrieve those cards for our cause. I would go myself. However, I'm needed here to maintain our barrier against any invading forces. Fair enough. According to the legend, one must use a deck whose cost is lower than an opponent's to capture a rose card of another color. Yeah, that's the overall gimmick of progressing in this game. Remember, a deck that costs lower than an opponent is the key. I've also heard somewhere that the Celts have inherited their red rose cards from the original inhabitants. Stonehenge, yeah, okay. This would mean that our enemy, Yugi, who comes from a long line of dialogue, a Welsh nobility, would likely have inherited one of the red rose cards. This means that those who oppose the Rose Crusaders are sufficiently equipped to duel us as equals. Given their desperate situation, they will retaliate with everything they've got. It would be wise not to underestimate them. I'm depending on you. Well, thank you. Alright, so your first duel is against frickin' Taya. That's just a little hint of how much easier this side is. There's a couple annoying duels, but for the most part, the other side has way worse gimmicks. But anyway, gonna focus on the deck real quick. Alright, I want to see what we got. Alright, so I'm surprised I remember any of these controls. I must have played this way much more as a kid than I thought. Okay, so your leader ability, you have none at the moment. As your deck leader levels up, it may get abilities, but I'm not going to do this like 100%. Like, there's there's a secret ability that you may or may not even have available to you, where eventually you can find secret cards just by bringing your deck leader to a certain spot on the board. So, not even doing all that. So let's see. While this card is face up in defense position, the power of all your plant monsters increases by 500 points. Too bad you never get to use your deck leader in duels. So, alright, so not too bad. Matter of fact, let me look at this. Arrives in own summoning area other than current location when destroyed in battle. Oh, okay. That's actually nice. Well, let me get to the basic info, thank you. Yeah, we got big insect and basic insect, great. Yeah, we are going to basically be Weevil, it seems. Actually, Rose Picto, I think this is normally a deck master card that I've used. I could be wrong. Mushroom Man. I have Mushroom Man in my deck. Yeah, and I don't have any Mushroom Man number 2, so that's kind of pointless. Yeah, Forest is definitely gonna be my big, crutch during this game. Oh boy, I can't wait till I get some more cards. And technically, you could beat this entire game by only having 18 duels. 9 on one side and 9 on the other. I might rematch a couple duels just to actually power up my deck. This isn't a speed run of any sort. I'm actually just trying to have some fun with this, but I might just progress depending on where I'm at in the game. But something I really want to do, that I usually do in like Forbidden Memories, and I think all speedrunners do, is try to get some, was it like electric and dragon type monsters, because you can easily get twin-headed thunder dragon, which is like one of the easiest powerful cards to summon. It's got 2800 attack points, powers up in mountain. It's incredible. It's like one of the best cards in the entire game. Let's see. Acid trap hole. What do you do in this game? Disposable trap that triggers against a monster with attack of 4,000 or below and destroys it. Yeah, so 4,000 or below. I think that's a good trap. Wild germs increases the power of plant monsters by 500. Insect armor, laser cannon, insect monsters, same ability. Boosts attack and defense factors of all plant monsters on the field by 600 points. Alright. So the whole deck works well with itself, but has nothing to cover its weaknesses, really. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Now, there are passwords that you can use from Forbidden Memories to get really good cards in your deck. I will only use those in case of emergency and not wanting to grind, because yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of potential in this deck. I'm going to be resorting to raw power and bonus cards. I don't see a lot of possible fusions, if any, but I'm going to try. And by the way, for those of you wondering, but you don't have polymerization. Nah, that's not how fusion works in this game. You literally just fuse cards together. They just fusion hot from your hand. So, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting.